Hey Alice,
Hey Jenny,
how's it going?
good. Excited for what we have in store today.
Me too. So today's topic is drum roll, please. Everyone thinks they're a marketer thanks to AI. A hot,
Woo.
hot topic for us. Why did we pick this topic? What is it that triggers us? You go first this time.
Okay, so we have multiple triggers for this one, but the one that I keep coming back to is the craft of it all, the expertise of it all, and how just because you have this new magical technology in your hands, you kind of think that first principles and the rules of the discipline don't apply to you anymore because AI just thinks about everything. And for me, this is a big trigger because it's frustrating to see that, yes, on the one hand, it's nice to see that everything is democratized, but on the other hand, it's frustrating to see people outsourcing their critical thinking and diminishing the importance of understanding the rules of the game so you can break them. I always believe that you have to at least be aware that the AI is trained on some patterns that were created by multiple experts through multiple years of hard work and studying and experience. And by all means, use it, but understand why you're using it, how you're using it, and if that result is any good.
Yeah, marketing is having to defend itself, which is frustrating and why we're talking about this.
Yeah, exactly. Marketing having to defend itself, isn't that the case always?
Exactly. Well, I'm going to jump in and then share one of my triggers because you just gave me a perfect segue, which is we're already doing this in house. Like any marketer in house of an organization is having to defend their strategy, their budget, what they want to do to drive customers and drive sales. I know I have experienced it my entire career, no matter what industry I've been in, B2C, B2B, tech, fashion, luxury, retail, you name it. And within all of those organizations, I've always had to hear people with honestly zero storytelling acumen, zero marketing funnel knowledge, and really zero customer segmentation understanding, always kind of telling me what it is I should be doing. And it's kind of normal. Like, I almost want to say it should be just part of the job description. You are an internal ambassador for the profession of marketing. Your job is to educate people. Now you're seeing it, though, all over LinkedIn. And people also seem to think that AI's brain is just as good as someone who has, 15 years marketing experience. So to your point, it's like the reason a marketer with 15 years experience could be using AI to their advantage is because they have 15 years experience and they know how to do this profession. It's like everyone's a marketer and I get it. Marketing is hot. Every job I've been in, I've always had like this secret feeling that my boss thinks my job is cooler than theirs because they oversaw all of digital or all of transformation and I was in the marketing vehicle and I know everyone wants to drive that car. It is fun because honestly, the kind of shit I got to do at Louis Vuitton when Instagram launched, I mean, I enjoyed some of those elevator rides with celebrities to the events I was planning with the PR team, you know, trying to bolt down the door to let me have a seat at the table so I can get a measly Instagram post.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's always that chasing people around. I know.
Yeah. Well, so that's basically why we're here today talking about this. this isn't the first time we've felt this way. Maybe specifically with AI, this is kind of a first, but this absolutely isn't like a first moment. There are déjà vu feelings that come up, cultural reminiscence that come up. For me, as I said, can definitely remember back to Louis Vuitton. I had a boss that really liked to call me into his office and pitch me an idea for a product launch. But it wasn't really a pitch. It was like, here's my idea and I expect you to use it. And in my head, I would just stand there and, stroke the ego, let him get it out. But inside, I was really thinking, are you the marketer here? This product launches in 2 weeks. Do you really think that I have not had the plan set for over 2 months now? By the way, you're aware because you have access to all my documentation. So it's just funny that this definitely reminds me of all those bosses. AI is now like that boss where I'm like, that's a great idea, but you forgot X, Y, and Z, and always so optimistic and apologetic. Oh, I'm so sorry. You're so right. I did forget to factor that in. If only real teams were as, politically correct in their demeanor as AI.
Oh, and this actually, this just as a short note, this reminds me of my own experience with multiple bosses, but also the meme. It's a now famous meme of, if you hire me and let me do it for you, it costs, I don't know, $10. If you hire me and want me to listen to your ideas, it's $100. So if you hire the expert but you think you can, just direct them, sure, go for it, but it will cost you more. Because, I mean, yes, it's a funny, kind of passive aggressive kind of thing, but if you think about it and translate it to the real world, how many times did we have to already correct the mess that that brilliant idea, last minute idea, or AI idea, created?
Yeah. When I read posts on LinkedIn from people who have zero experience in marketing who are suddenly like, having an opinion, and not to mention the last few months and my email inbox just overflooding with newsletters that I follow who are not necessarily marketers, who are suddenly, sending a newsletter titled blah, 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 storytelling or value of marketing. And I'm just like, wait, you are not in marketing. So I don't know. You can look at it how you want. The cultural moment for me, it's like, I think I've learned over the course of my career to see it as a compliment and view it with a lens of optimism, where it's like people just really want to work on this part of the business because it's so creative and so thrilling. And it's up to us, experts and experienced marketers, to make sure we hold the guardrails up and educate them. What about you? Do you have any cultural moments that pop into your mind when you're thinking about all this?
When I was thinking about this and I was thinking about, a good analogy, there are actually two that came to mind. One is one recent I heard from a conversation with a CISO in my cybersecurity space. And he said, can we please treat AI with a scientific method kind of mind? Because we've already done this tango with data science, and we've created the illusion of knowledge for so many people. Because yes, it's cool that we democratized access to data, as it is with AI and all these disciplines at your hands all of a sudden at your, fingertips. But if there's this thing in data science, garbage in, garbage out, it's the same with AI. So yes, let's democratize it, but let's also make sure that people have the skills to actually understand what the technology is doing. I also think that what's happening is that formulaic, good enough, cliché, I don't know, ready for the algorithms, yes, those are democratized. But the scientific method in data science and in AI translated to marketing is the real differentiator, will be the ones that actually know how to push it further. If the barrier to entry right now is very low, sure, everybody will create the same thing, sounding the same, looking the same, being the same, the same types of products actually, which yes, will work for a while, but you will add to the noise and then you will be like, hey, marketing, why isn't this running anymore? Why isn't my revenue, growing? What is happening right now? And you will need the creative skills of those people that you wanted to replace. So
Exactly, which is a great path into practical advice because, my advice is if you're in marketing and that's your expertise, as in like not SEO, not paid media, but just you have a 360 experience in marketing, own it. Remember that you are steering the ship. Marketing is the glue. So, walk into those meetings with stride and confidence because you actually know your shit. You know more about the story of the brand, the customer, and even the product, or at least the way it's perceived by the customers. Also, just like focus on getting people on your side, build internal relationships, stroke egos if you have to, but do it. I didn't have this approach. I just kind of did it naturally, where relationship building has been probably the biggest priority in all of those big companies I've been in. But now when I look back, I actually see that as a very strategic priority because I wouldn't have gotten to launch on any of the platforms I launched on or do any of the innovations I've led without the relationships I built. So I actually feel that that is really, really important for people and especially marketers to remember. And for the other side of the spectrum, if you are interviewing and you're not currently in a company, you're job hunting, you're trying to figure out how do I fit into this new AI economy, don't devalue your experience. Take a break from LinkedIn, step away from AI. And when you use AI, this is something I did last year when I was in the job hunter seat, ask your AI agent or generative AI after you've created something, can anyone do this? Because I like to ask Claude that question, and Claude is always replying me, yes, anyone can come and ask me this, but not anyone is going to know what to do with the answer and how to bring 15 years experience of navigating different industries with new problems and solutions like you do. What's your practical advice?
well, the one thing for marketers, which kind of echoes what you were saying, is that don't be afraid to be vocal on the one hand. And on the other hand, I actually did this exercise with Claude, which was funny, with both Claude and ChatGPT, echoing exactly what you were asking. Like, can anybody do this? Because the question then is, will I be replaced by, you know, a good enough operator with 1,000 AI agents? Or is it, what kind of marketer do I actually want to be? So, as we've said from the start of our conversation, having a seat at the table was always the end goal because people forgot that marketing is a strategic function. It's not the content machine nor the ad machine, but it
Mm.
was treated like that ever since digital became a thing and Google ads were a thing and social media ads as well was becoming a thing. And I've seen this in more ways than I can count, that we kind of diluted the discipline and all of us were kind of complicit to it because
Mm.
that's where the market was at. But in order to be tactical, you cannot just throw spaghetti on the walls and see what sticks. But at the end of the day, if you don't understand that, why you're doing that, and if you don't advocate that inside the company with clients in whatever shape of or form of marketing you're, running, at the end of the day, you will just be, you know, positioned in the middle where AI can do a good enough job. So the question then for marketers is where do you want to position yourself? And
Mm.
how do you want to use AI so it becomes a competitive advantage and not just good enough work or just formulaic work, which I get. We sometimes need to do that as well. And to mirror this for people wanting to work with marketing and AI for marketing, then the question becomes, how do you spot bad marketing? How do you spot when it's garbage in, garbage
Mm.
out? And again, look for the cliche. Do you sound like everybody else? Is it the first response or deliverable that you get something that you see plastered on all other walls? Is it generic? Does it speak to everyone? Is it using grandiose verbs and adjectives and adverbs like, all the buzzwords like seamless and delve and all their things. But this is my point, that as you were saying, hey, who has the knowledge of true customer segmentation, differentiating the product, differentiating the voice, creating a voice? Because being actually creative, not just copy paste. Yes. And again, I get it. I hear you, all of you. At some point, the market used to run easily on formula, and cliches were good enough. But now I don't think that's the case anymore.
But I also think you're bringing up something important, which is this is a moment where marketers get to pause and ask themselves what kind of marketers they want to be, what direction they want their careers to go in. And granted, it's a scary question because the answer isn't very clear. I've been very much in that seat. But I also think it's exciting. And I've actually asked myself this question. I can think of 6 other times in my career because of 6 other times when I've been in between jobs. And it's actually exciting because I think if you look at it from the lens of we could write our own story right now, that is very exciting. We could educate people on how should AI be integrated into an operational marketing team, and what is it good to outsource with AI versus what isn't it good to outsource. The key is finding people who understand that journey will take time to figure out, and that it's not just about replacing humans or ideas or strategy and thinking that that's good enough. So I think it's an interesting and pivotal moment for marketers, companies, I mean the world, but in relation to marketing, we're definitely having I wouldn't say identity crisis, but identity questioning.
Uh,
So in terms of recommendations, because it's definitely important to have your resources as you're thinking about all of this. I have a few. I'm actually currently reading Range, or should I say rereading, and it's just like a great reminder and giving me a newfound appreciation for the generalist marketer, which I'm very much a generalist in the industry sense and in my experience, in that I've literally touched every part of marketing for the last 15 years. It's a great book, and I love the way that the author David Epstein frames his theories. It basically takes you into all these other worlds like art and golf and chess, and via these interesting worlds, you get to really see the power of having a generalist point of view, and that being a generalist is an expertise in itself. So I definitely recommend that book for marketers right now. I think it will really speak to people. Also, something I've done is find one brilliant person who, isn't necessarily a marketer, but gets and respects and fundamentally values the expertise of marketing, and have a monthly call with them, because that person is going to be your optimistic shield for navigating people who think marketing can be replaced by AI. So for me, that person is a friend and CEO based out of New York. And then finally, just like ping pong with AI and find what brings you joy, because I went on that journey and I have a hunch that if you're a marketer, you're likely going to get to a conversation with your AI that makes you feel like, darn it, I love marketing. Obviously, there are many other things than marketing that brings me joy. But in my journey of trying to figure out, is there something else I should be doing? I kind of came back to, no, there isn't, but the way that I do marketing is evolving for me, and that is very exciting. So, those are my recommendations. I'm excited to hear what yours are.
Well, you actually just got me thinking that talking about what brings you joy and echoing what I was saying about what kind of marketer you want to be, I would say go back to creating just this for the sake of creating.
Mm,
This is one thing that always brings me joy. And I know that most marketers that I know of, at least like we are, love to create. It's what got us in this seat in the first place, because we love to put stories out there into the real world and, give shapes to ideas and thoughts. So remember what got you here in the first place and just go and do it without any strings attached. I think this is one good way of you know pausing and reflecting on the type of marketer you want to be or
mm,
creator you want to be. And the other more practical thing, I actually also have a book that when we were talking about this topic, just came to my mind, which is called Loved, and which is a book from the product space, from the tech space, but that can actually apply to, I would say, all of marketing in terms of first principles, because it talks about what gets a product to be loved. So the
mm.
perfect mix between differentiators, positioning, markets, proper customer segments and all of that, but also with the creative spark needed that I sometimes believe we kind of get out of our day to day because we're so into the weeds, and now with AI on top of it, that we forget the end goal of marketing, which was always to delight and to create emotion. Although people think it's only about the rational, truly not.
No, God, my favorite presentations in my career have been the ones where I've had to have the brain on a slide and explain that, part of our brain is rational and part of our brain is just based on what we feel. And there is nothing that is going to make a company any money without that part of the brain being triggered. So, with that, again, ending on an optimistic note, look at us. I love it. Um, Thanks for the chat, and I'm excited for the next one.
Same. And keep on creating, people.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.